Hey guys, so some people hear like mindset is everything, or what's your thought process? I get asked a lot on certain things, and I know early on I struggled with even understanding that, fully grasping how that may or may not help or hurt me out in the field and on the phones and just in business in general. So I'm going to give some thoughts on how you can overcome that, how you can understand it better, maybe give you some insight into the way I understood it and what worked for me. And I look at a few things like Mike Killamet used to always tell us, if you want to get paid like a professional, act like a professional. I was like, all right, makes sense. And I can think what I want of that. You can think what you want of it, of course. And again, for me, I started looking at it like, have you ever been through where maybe you go through a streak where, I don't know, people don't book appointments, or maybe you're missing some sales, or you're getting some no-shows, or whatever it is. And you kind of start getting in your own head, and the way you think is not good. Like the way you talk to yourself in those moments, I think by nature for all of us is not necessarily the best. But I do know that you can improve upon that. And for me, I related it a lot to sports when Mike taught me stuff like that. And some people, I've used this reference as well, maybe not sports, but like acting or people in plays. Like my wife and I like to see that play, Hamilton. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty cool. But for instance, when it comes to sports, like when I played, and I didn't by any means play professionally or get even close, but I played. And are obviously surrounded by a lot of people that have played at a higher level, and I know this holds true, is that athletes, they will start to picture stuff in their head and visualize the way they want things to go, the way a play is supposed to be run, the way they're gonna, like I played football a little bit, I like visualize how I want to catch, maybe the way you want to get your feet in bounds, whatever it is. You're playing soccer, the way you're gonna kick the ball, pass the ball, score, whatever it is you're doing, basketball, you can visualize what you want to play out. Most athletes do that, and they spend a lot of time doing that when they're going over who they're playing, the game plan, whatever it is. Visualization is a real big thing in that world. And so that's one of the things I would use when I was struggling, is I would slow down and I would start to visualize what I wanted the phone call to go like, how I was gonna speak, how they were gonna react, the way I was gonna handle myself when I got something that normally caused me stress, pressure, anxiety, bad reactions. I know a lot of people when they're on the phone, or even in the house, honestly, when a client says something, give you some pushback maybe, or maybe they come out with their tonality changes, there's some frustration, maybe they question you, maybe they tell you to, pound dirt, whatever it is. And sometimes our natural instinct can be to fight back. And so I would visualize when I get this pushback, like I didn't fill that out, or that wasn't me, or we're no longer interested, whatever it is, how I was going to react. Because I know when I was new, my reaction was to fight them on that. Now you did fill it out, and obviously I think everybody understands that's not the best reaction. So whatever it is that works for you, and this isn't going to be an objections conversation right now, but whatever things you're supposed to be doing that you're supposed to be doing, you're learning from trainings, I would start to visualize those things. So when it happened, it came out of my mouth, and when I walked up to a door, and maybe I started visualizing, like looking them in the eye when I say, hey, it's John, I'm here for our appointment. And a lot of times I can remember looking back to appointments, and you get these people that have this look in their face like, who the heck are you? And I remember starting to visualize and go, when they say that, especially when it's a wife, I started joking with them, and I'd go, he didn't tell you I was coming, did he? And they have no idea who I am, but they'll answer that question. And they'll go, nope, who are you? And they're like, oh, and then I could go, I'm here for this. And that's just, again, that's one example. I would start to visualize the way I was going to set structure in the home, the way I was going to, if I needed, if they were husband here, wife here, and I need to move them, how I was going to do that. I would visualize the way I wanted things to play out. And I did this a lot. I'm just sitting up at night, driving in the car, whatever it was, I would start to visualize the way I wanted things to go. I'd take other top producers that were out there killing it and take their stuff, and I would start to just think about that stuff a lot, visualize it a lot. I also look at it this way, like, and you see this in sports, and again in the theater thing. This is why I brought up the Hamilton thing. You know, if you pay attention to news at all, one of the Hamilton stars, they had a real young child that died. I think it was a girl, I think, and she was like 2 or 3 years old. It was a real young child, whatever it was. And it was like the main star. And there were some health complications. I don't know the full story. But when he went on stage, dude, Hamilton sells out everywhere in every city, every show. Nobody knew that his child had issues going on. Some of y'all may love that show and not know it, and you're Googling it now. Like, it's wild. Or you see in sports all the time where recently someone's spouse died, we see children die, we see parents die. Yeah, I almost gave names for some specific stories. I can think of Jordan when way back when. Again, there's a lot of NFL players. And one of the guys on the Celtics not too long ago had something going on in his life. I think it was a sister. And when sometimes that tragedy causes a new level of focus for them, right? And when they're on the court, on the field, you don't have a clue that they got life going on, right? And imagine you as a sports fan or as a theater fan, think about some of your reactions and how you let life get in the way of your job, which is helping families, right? That's our job. And you allow your life, your situations, your going-ons get in the way, and it affects your mood, it affects your demeanor, it affects your body language, it affects the way you speak to people, right? Imagine you're the athlete and they don't perform on the field the way you expect them to perform as a fan. I bet you're frustrated. You know what I mean? Or like if you were at a Hamilton show and you paid whatever it was to pay for a ticket, and this actor is dealing with life stuff, and they forget all their lines, you know what I mean? They're foul at the people watching the show, their reaction, like they aren't putting in the energy, the effort that it takes to go into a show. You would notice. You stop buying tickets, you know what I mean? And it would affect things. And again, as a fan or as of any of these things, there would be some level of frustration. I'm like, but when you're in that situation and you got life going on, right? We give excuses. It's like, yeah, but I had this, I had that. Or we let these personal things like hit us in the face all day long. Or maybe we make, excuses like, my wife called, my aunt called, my grandma called, my son called, and I had to do X. And this is where you insert your objection, your excuse, right? And I always joke around, was it Giselle and Tom Brady? Like, she doesn't call him at halftime. Like, hey, can you get groceries at home? Hey, we had a flat tire. Hey, we had this going. Like, it's not an option. You know what I mean? The guy in the Hamilton play, like, his family can't go, you know what? We're having a party with grandma today. You need to be there. Oh, you know what? Let me just cancel the play. And yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Like, that makes no sense, right? But in our world, we don't act like a professional in that sense. That's how I took it, which means we don't get paid like a professional, right? These athletes, these actors, you can see it on any show, any movie, any professional situation. I'm thinking of right now lawyers in a courtroom and a judge in a court. Like, they don't have stuff going on, but when they're doing their job, no one knows it because they're able to block everything out, right? Most situations that I've referenced here, they visualize what they got to do, and when they're on the field in the court, they got to take care of business. And so for me, I was on the field when I was on the phones. I was on the court when I was out in the field. Like, this was a sport to me, and the way I acted, the way I behaved, and better yet, the way I trained and prepared in advance of the actual game day said I treat it like a sport. So the question is, what are you doing with this thing? How do you think about this? Do you prepare behind the scenes like an athlete does? Or are you sitting on the couch eating chips all day and then like, I'm going to be the starting quarterback next weekend? Like, it's not real. That's not realistic in any world, and it's not here either. And I think some of us can take for granted maybe how good we are, or how much effort we put in, or how much money can be made in this world, in this business. And I just think that if you guys would look at things differently, and again, you want to get paid like a professional, act like a professional. So whatever it is you got to do in advance, I think if you guys will start implementing some of those things, again, I think visualization is really important. And then just look at this for what it is. It's your profession. And you can definitely think of some of these examples and see where you allow things to interfere with your profession, where folks that you're a fan of on the other side of the TV screen or on a show or wherever, they hold themselves to higher standards. Hell, you hold them to higher standards than you hold yourself. You know, we all do that. So I think if you guys can start looking at things like this, again, visualization, and strategize with this thing. You know, when you're out there, be aware, be accountable, and don't allow these outside influences to mesh up here. Because by nature, we're all weak in the mind. All of us are. We're all jacked up. We all got issues. And we all allow emotions to control what comes out of our mouth, our behavior, our body language, things like that. So if you guys would just be more aware of it, I think that's the first step. And hopefully some of these comparisons, analogies help you look at things a little bit differently. And whatever your sport is at the moment, go out there and take it seriously. And again, get paid like a professional if you act like one. Hopefully that helps. Later.